Good morning, everyone. Today is April the 16th, 2021. This is StockCast, your pre-market show. My name is James Mason. With me is Todd Derby. Todd, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you doing?
I am doing well. So, pre-market Dow futures are currently up 48 points. S&P futures are up 5.25 points. It's looking like it's going to come out sideways, and with it being Friday, will probably be choppy, which is usually how it goes.
Welcome to the stock market.
Yep. All right. Yeah, so very little news pre-market today. Once again, no surprise there. And we do have a few to talk about today, and we're going to start off with ticker NDRA. All right. Todd, let me hit this one fundamentally first, and
all right.
Well, a technical analysis, and then I'll let you kind of take over, okay? So last update, short interest, 1.2 million shares being shorted, 3.1% of the float. Shares outstanding, 41.6 million shares. The float, 38.3 million shares. And looking at the news off the top, let's see. Okay, we have a couple of Form 4s off the top around April the 7th. So that would be worth looking into. And this thing should have some pending FDA news. Looking at the 1 year, 1 day chart, we can see currently that we are kind of going sideways. This setup with these candlesticks doesn't look too great right now. But again, this is pending news any moment. So Todd, I'll let you go ahead and take over.
Yeah, that was on my radar, and actually I hold it. I got a position in it, and they were expecting it's a liver news. They liver disease, and they were expecting FDA news in the first quarter. There was no PDUFA date, but they were expecting news. That news has not been delivered yet. Well, the good news is they haven't delivered any bad news either. So I still think it's a possibility. I'm holding it. My average is 265. So it's trading around 225, 230, and I may add a little bit into scale in. But I mean, I'm just waiting for the news, and if the news comes, I'm going to pop, and this will go over $3, no problem.
Sounds good.
If the news is good.
Yeah. So, Todd, with you saying that, if that news is good or really, in my opinion, just semi-good to get a good pop out of here, looking at this daily chart and actually looking at the RSI now, we can see the strong push up right here where the RSI on the daily chart goes above 93. And then here we are at this point. Now, if this news is good, this thing will more than likely pop up. It will put this RSI back above that $70 threshold, which will then create a higher high right here. And that's what we would look for. And then it would end up, what would follow would be a RSI bearish divergence. So we'd have this very high RSI back here with this lower PPS value. And then we'd have the RSI go back up above 70, which would end up creating that price action being higher than back here, but a lower RSI. So if you don't know about the bearish RSI videos that I have on the free stock course, go to that playlist section on our channel and check it out. There's a video where I talk about this and probably make a little bit more sense. So that is what I see overall for on the technical side here. And really, guys, this one is just stand by and just waiting for news.
Correct.
So, NDRA. All right, let's see what we got next. Ticker APTX. All right. So looking at this overall setup on the one-day chart, which is this is obviously more than a year, but this daily chart, I like this setup. I like how it had this massive gap down, just was beat down overall, and it's just been going sideways for like forever. So what I'm looking for next is I want to see what we got going on. So last update, short interest, 2 million shares being shorted. 4.9% of the float is shorted, and days to cover 3.6. Shares outstanding, 66.8 million shares. The float, 41 million shares. And looking at the news at the top. So when looking at this ticker, literally right off the top of the news that I see, kind of like going back, on April the 6th, the headline literally says that they back off from their study results. That right there is like a big old punch in the stomach. If you had gotten into this beforehand and are currently holding on. Now, long term, these companies usually tend to get their act together, but long term could literally turn into an indefinite time frame. So let's look back at April the 6th to see what we had going on. And we can see that it gave us this little gap up to about 330. Might have been higher pre-market, but looking at the state of the chart, it says 330. And then we have, pulled back about 60 cents, roughly in that range, just kind of playing around. And at the moment we are sitting at a solid support, but nonetheless, that news, that headline, that's concerning. That just happened 10 days ago. Me personally, if I wasn't in this, I would hold off. If I was in this, honestly, I'd probably consider lessening my position at a minimum, if not getting out. Now, I'm not sure what other pending catalysts that they have in the pipeline at the moment. Maybe they do have something that could reverse this, pull it through. But again, that's a pretty tough blow when a company like this, a bio company, says that they're stopping their research. So just keep that in mind. So that's what I see for ticker APTX.
Here's the next one. MRAM, Mary Robert, Apple Mary.
All right.
Had a member email me about this one.
All right. Last update for the short interest, 226,000 shares being shorted, 1.75% of the float, days to cover 1.1. Overall, that's not much, but this does have lighter volume, which a lot of people they're scared of lighter volume. And there's really, I don't want to say there's really no sense to be scared of lighter volume if there's a catalyst, though. If there are catalysts in the pipeline, if you understand the catalyst, it could be cool. Now, if it's just like some crappy company that has no catalyst, no pen and news, and there's no volume, then there's probably no interest. All right, so share structure, shares outstanding. Last update for all this would be 19.2 million shares outstanding. The float, 13 million shares. So I like that share structure. Also, another thing to note about this is the institutions hold 46%.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So just by quickly just looking at this fundamentals, I like the fundamentals overall with the share structure. The short interest is really no big deal to me since it's kind of low. And what really sticks out is the institutions holding that much. So next, what I would do is look for a catalyst coming through here, and just kind of looking off the top, I see quite a few different filings, and let's see if I can see anything. Okay, so without really digging into much, this is a semiconductor company, and if you've kind of been keeping up with what's been going on in this sector, you know that there's different micro and macro events taking place, and that's pretty much the only thing that would concern me overall. What potentially could happen if we do have a significant market pullback, that sector is going to get hit pretty hard overall. You'll start seeing the big companies like AMD, Intel, NVIDIA, all of them, they'll start taking major hits. And what would concern me with that is if this would take a sympathy play and pull back with it. But if I'm not putting that into context, this overall trend right here, I do like this, and I'll show you why. Let me draw some lines really quick. All right. So I drew these trend lines right here. And pretty much all I would look for at this point going forward is I would like to see this daily, the daily non-EMA physically cross above 604, 605, right in that range. Again, I'd have to see the line itself, not the candlesticks. I don't care about the candlesticks. And the reason why is that moving average, even though it will be delayed, I need to see that average get higher than that actual resistance. And this is potentially what you could get when it breaks above that 605 range. We could potentially go up here to about this $8 range for a quicker pop. And then overall about $10.20. And then if we continue on up around 14 and then so on. But again, I'd have to see this physically, this non-EMA line physically break above 605 before wanting to consider making an entry here. And let's see, if I was going to do a stop loss, what I'd probably do if I was going to do a stop loss, you see how this green line, this 200 EMA line is going sideways right under that resistance. Probably just do my stop loss a little bit below, so probably around, you can see where it kind of bombs out right there, probably around 570. I just do a stop loss. I keep my position light because we do have a pretty decent range that by keeping a smaller position, we'd still yield significant profits. But if, say, we stopped out, it really wouldn't be no big deal. So this is what I see for ticker MRAM. All right, let's see what else we have.
Let's take a look at one that's in play right now. It's MTSL. Mary Thomas, Sam.
Okay.
Larry.
So MTSL, this thing was a pre-market runner today. And really, if you were going to catch this thing pre-market, you would have to have had a broker that would allow you to trade this early, and chasing this thing at the very beginning of pre-market would have been extremely hard. As we can see, we had this after hours push yesterday and then quickly pulled back. What I would look for here is I'd have to see it break above these after hour highs of yesterday. So I have to see it break above $6.60, and this will be just for a day trade. So breaking above $6.60, and if I was going to do this, which I probably won't because day trading kind of sucks lately with the lower volume. But I would just take a quick scalp and let's see, above 660. So I'll just draw a trend line for y'all. So if I was going to take a quick scalp on this above 660, I'd probably take it to about 720 just to nail it really quick. And you can see the reason why. You start getting some resistance right in here, but I'm willing to bet that with this setup right here, you can see this little orange hash line. I'll draw a line right there if you can't see it on your mobile devices. But there's a little orange hash line. That's the current pre-market price at the moment. It would be this line right here. You see on this daily chart how much that had gapped up? Well, look back here. You have all these people who got caught in this drop. There's people, a lot of them, probably still in this thing. You have people who, excuse me, who got in right here when it spiked up and pulled back, and they're probably going to want to get out. You will still, I promise, you will still have these people who are in this trade from mid 2018. Why? I don't know, but you will always find those people. So when I say that this thing will probably be a fader, and this is another reason why I'm not going to day trade this, with there being lighter volume in the market overall, you'll see these things make their push, or whether it be an after hours or pre-market push, and then it'll go up and test that high again. Well, on that daily chart, it's so significant, and the news is not really that great, I guess to say. Now, it was good enough to make this jump, but it's not really quite good enough to just keep running and running and running, because if it was, it wouldn't have done this pre-market right here. It would have just continued on running up. So what this thing will probably do is come back up here in this range, maybe test these after hours highs of yesterday, and then pull back. And me personally, I wouldn't even bother chasing it between its current price of 552 up to those after hour highs at 660. It's just not worth the risk to me. I would literally just only be looking at this to short it. And another reason why, another great reason that I would see to short this is the confirmation for this RSI on the 5-minute chart. We can see how it is just pushed up over 90 right here this entire time. It was making us run, sold off, and we're coming back up, and we're just now breaking above that 70 threshold, which potentially could come up here, test this. And if it does break above that 660 and goes up to about 720, it's not going to last long before it just gets shorted.
It's been heavily shorted already today. I know that.
Ah, okay. So, yeah, that's what I see. And with Todd saying that it's been heavily shorted already, those people still have their share locates, and they're going to come in for round 2, round 3. Who knows how many times this will pay them out.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring this one up since it was still is a pre-market runner. You know, just keep your eyes out for it and don't get caught up in the FOMO. So that is what I see for ticker MTSL.
All right. Got a couple more from our members. Take a look at KMPH. Boss, you got a couple questions in there. Please send me a DM and I'll be able to answer those to you. Either go to the TTB Blackbox chat room or send me a DM on Facebook.
What's the questions?
He's asking me about a couple of tickers.
All right. KMPH. So last update for short interest. There's no data available for it. Shares outstanding, 28.3 million shares. The float, 27.5 million shares. Looking at their news off the top. Couple filings. It looks like, yeah, they have a couple catalysts somewhere in the pipeline. I'd have to go back up. We'll back and retouch on this one. Okay, so they have a couple. Hold on a second. All right, so they have a couple catalysts in the pipelines. Looks like they have this patent award, which I'm pretty sure I talked about that the last time this ticker was brought up. And really, it's kind of just doing the same thing that it has been doing. It's just trading in between this channel between roughly $8 and $12 overall. Now, we did recently talk about this one, so it would have probably been kind of still in the same range. Now, overall, it looks okay. I do like the share structure. I hate that there's no data for the short interest, but it is what it is. That patent news, I'd like to dig into it a little bit more to see if anything else has come up with that, since I haven't looked at it since the last time I reviewed a sticker. But that patent news should start coming into play in the future with whatever else they have all catalyst-wise going on. And really, if I was going to trade this, reanalyzing it again, I'd take a smaller position and wait for that 9 EMA to cross back above that 200 EMA on the daily chart. Probably put my stop loss in around $8 and just kind of let it ride. If we break back above this 1210 range, should start seeing some pretty decent movement up to about 15. And then if we continue on with that momentum up to about 18, we'll start getting some heavy resistance in that range. And really, that's probably where I sell. So that is what I see for ticker KMPH.
Want to do one more?
What do we got? What do we got?
INO.
Ooh, INO.
India. Nancy Oscar.
INO. So they actually just released news with the catalyst, and I'm not going to get into too much detail about this since this is an actual alert for our members, but I do. First off, this company, I do like them. I've been able to trade them pretty well over the last year or so. Overall, we can see, there's a sideways trend and then quick spike up. It's pulling back, but it's still maintaining this wide channel. And that's literally the only thing I can say about it. It's just this wide channel between $8 and roughly 15. But when trading something like this that has a massive push up and then pulls back and consolidates and then bounces around, we do have these supports that will start taking place and setting up. And you can get to the point to where when it comes down, goes sideways on a support line, you can make an entry here and then just put a pretty tight stop below that support and then just see what it does. Had we done this back here where it had trended sideways for, roughly a month, if we would have made an entry somewhere around $9.15 to $9.25, whatever in that range, and then put a stop in around $8, we could just let it do this thing, go sideways, and we would have caught this next spike up over 13, then pushed up to 16, 17, 18, and then pull back. But you can see what I'm saying. When they start forming these supports, you can start kind of predicting how they're going to move. Now, at this point, since we've already been doing this little game of going up like 4 times now, at some point that momentum does die off. It either needs to commit to it and keep running bullish, or it's just going to eventually break down once again. So for confirmation, I'd have to see this thing start ticking back up before wanting to make an entry. Otherwise, if it breaks below $8, it'd be a short candidate for me. That is ticker INO. Pretty much with this company, the only thing that I don't like is their shares outstanding, which stand at 208 million. And for me, that's just a little too much. So, yeah, that is what I have for today.
Good.
Yep.
Well, it's Friday, like you said. Be careful with your trades today. Be smart, be safe, and be cautious with the choppy market today.
Absolutely. And as they say, my baloney has a first name, and its name is POAI.
All right.
All right, everyone. So, hey, trade safe. If you're in profit on this Friday, consider raising the stop loss up. Never hurts to take profit. And watch out for that Friday volatility. So, trade safe. We appreciate y'all, and we'll see y'all in the next one.
See ya.